Let's go back to our top story this morning and the US president's response to accusations of racism and xenophobia. Well, the row started when he posted a series of tweets saying that 4 Democratic congresswomen, all from ethnically diverse backgrounds, 3 of whom were born in the US, should go back and fix their broken countries. Mr. Trump went on and stepped up his attack on those women, telling them they can leave the US if they're not happy there. Let's discuss this with Professor Peter Mathews. He's a US political analyst and commentator and joins us from California this morning. Peter Mathews, thanks so much. What is this all about?
About a couple of different things, but mostly it's about a racist attack on women in Congress who spoke up on their issues, and he just put them down by saying, go back where you came from. Well, they were all U.S. citizens. They still are citizens, and 3 of them were born in the United States. And to me, it has to do with some of his past comments. For example, when he said a few months ago that he would prefer to have immigrants from Norway. He said, why do we have immigrants from all these shithole countries like Africa and Haiti?
Sorry, please
and
don't use... Peter, sorry, please don't use language like that, and I do apologize.
Oh, that was Donald Trump's language. I'm so sorry I did that. I was repeating what he said. Okay.
Thank you. So let's go back. So it's basically because 3 of these women actually were talking about migrant centers, weren't they? That's where it all started last week.
It did. It certainly did on the border, where there have been detention centers that have overcrowding and inhumane conditions, where children are not given toothpaste to brush their teeth. People have been overcrowded, and diseases are spreading. And all of this was inspected by these Congress people and others and reported by media. And Mr. Trump ultimately is responsible for that because he's in charge of the Homeland Security Department. So is his other people. And so it started with that. And it was just terrible because these women and other people also pointed out the inhumanity, and even the United Nations admonished the United States for that. So it started with that, and he took a reaction against that. And he didn't like people complaining about these things. And so, if anyone wants to criticize the United States, he calls them un-American and they should leave the United States. That's an un-American attitude to say that.
It's interesting because these 4 women have come out and spoken in the last couple of hours, right? And they have said that, basically AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, has said that he doesn't know how to defend his policy, so what he does is attack us personally. But this attack seems extremely personal. How is it playing out in the US?
It's having horrible repercussions because it's dividing the country once again. But most Americans are uniting to say he was wrong. It was a racist attack. It is not what America's about. Even there were 15 Republicans that came aboard within the last 5 hours and said that Mr. Trump was wrong. They condemned his actions and comments. So the country is uniting, but there's still a few hardcore members of his support base group of voters that probably approve of what he said. And that's probably why he did it, to appeal to them. And I think this might be bringing about more unity now, people of conscience, people who really love this country and want to make America better. So that's the key. If you love the country, you'll try to make America better. You will criticize her, but you'll also praise what she does well and to improve the things that are not done well. Mr. Trump doesn't understand that, apparently, according to the way he's acting and reacting.
Just a correction. Her name is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. A correction on my behalf there. So it's interesting that you say that the people who've come out against what Donald Trump have said are, in fact, quite a few Republicans. Lindsey Graham, one of his most fervent supporters, has come out. Yes, he has been disparaging about those 4 women, but he has said they are American citizens. They won an election. Take on their policies. The bottom line here is this is a diverse country.
Yes, indeed. We have people from all over the world, and President Kennedy was proud of that when he praised us for being a nation of immigrants. And so Lindsey Graham said, yes, it's the policies you should be actually attacking or discussing or debating, not the individual person, not the ad hominem arguments, which Trump is so good at doing. And it's just, it's going to wreck our democracy if he keeps going like this, unless people unite against what he's doing and uplift America to what we are ideally, because our ideals are what construct this country. We're not a nation of geography. We're not a nation of race or ethnicity. We are a nation of many different people with an idea, a single idea that all human beings are created equal, endowed with unalienable rights, as our Declaration of Independence says. And this is something that we should adhere to. And Mr. Trump is actually debasing that idea with his actions and his words.
Why does he keep going on about Israel?
Well, I think he thinks it's a good vote-getting piece, for example, and maybe he actually believes that what these people are saying are the people who say that we should be more balanced in our approach with Israel, we should be even-handed with the Palestinians and Israelis. Instead, he wants to take one side and then support the Netanyahu government, right or wrong. And he's doing it for political reasons, I think. I don't know if he really believes it or if it's just the political reasons, but it's not a good policy for the United States to be this one-sided. And many Americans, including the American Jewish community, are condemning Mr. Trump for taking such a one-sided view and hurting U.S. relations with the world, with the Palestinians, and also with Israel. Because there are many, many Israelis who believe that there should be an even-handed approach, a two-state solution in which both countries have their own territory. They have their own capitals in Jerusalem, perhaps. This is something that Mr. Trump doesn't understand fully. He's been the most vitriolic and one-sided
Let
of
me
any
just
other
jump
president.
in there, Mr. Mathews,
Sure.
because Donald Trump, when he was speaking about this tweet, he said, well, many people love my tweet. 2020, just around the corner. Are there people who will listen to what he said, read his tweets and say, yeah, he's correct, we did love his tweet?
Well, there's some people or his base, like I said, he was down to about 37% of the voters just a week ago in a poll that said they would vote to reelect him, but 60% said they would vote not to reelect him. So he's looking at that 37%, hoping to bring a few more out who didn't vote last time, who think the way they do. And those are the ones he's referring to, saying they love my tweet. The right-wing reactionary, racists, and white supremacists and other people who support them, that's the one he's trying to get a larger number of them to come out to vote. I don't think it's going to work for him. The numbers just aren't there because this country is still a great country with a lot of idealism and ideals that people are fighting to implement, such as equality of opportunity and equality of treatment of human beings, no matter where you're from.
Okay. Professor Peter Mathews, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Take care, Kimberly.